Let's show you the naivete and the, fantasy land Joe Biden's living in.
Not being naive. I'm not speaking to President Trump, who'll do whatever he wants. I'm not speaking to Mitch McConnell, who'll do what he wants, and he does. I'm speaking to those Republicans out there, Senate Republicans, who know deep down what is right for the country and consistent with the Constitution, as I stand here in the Constitution Center, not just what's best for their party. I don't believe the people of this nation will stand for it.
So, not that Joe Biden is exactly a profile in courage. I think you know my opinion on him. Republicans don't care about the Constitution. They care about the Constitution when it benefits them benefits them politically. Ted Cruz, for starters, all of these people, they don't give a damn about the Constitution. That's number one. Number two, they don't care about norms. They don't care about consistency. You cannot shame Republicans because most of them are complete extremist zealots. And like a lot of their base, they have come up in politics really with an ideology on don't tread on me, let me hoard as much wealth as humanly possible, and an extreme fetish on unborn fetuses. That's the truth. They don't care about life, like actual life, like children getting massacred in schools. Don't care about those lives. The coronavirus pandemic, clearly a lot of these Republicans don't give a damn. But they're very concerned about, life in a woman's womb. And this has been the culture war that honestly has helped Republicans as demographics in America change on the presidential level. It has helped them continue to win, even though the demographics, not just in terms of more Latinos voting and more black people voting and younger people not being conservative, but it has helped them in terms of a huge voting bloc that literally just votes on abortion. So, imagine evangelicals voted for Donald Trump and supported Donald Trump, a man who cheated on every wife, who's been accused of rape, I think, by 15 to 20 women, who is the preeminent degenerate of our time. They voted for him because he sang the tune on abortion and a few other things. So the bottom line is we could get into debates, but I tend not to fearmonger, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Before, when people told you to vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016, it was hypothetical. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was still here. Now it's not hypothetical. There is a very, very, and this is not me fear-mongering, this is the facts. And if you want to, put your head in the sand, that's fine. But the facts are, there is a very, very strong chance that either Roe v. Wade will be overturned, or it won't be overturned, but it will be weakened. A good example is how the Voting Rights Act was weakened to the point that it is essentially destroyed. I'm going to read you an article on how, if Trump chooses a justice that we think he's going to choose, Amy Coney Barrett, who is on the record against Roe versus Wade. Obviously, Brett Kavanaugh and several others are clearly not for Roe versus Wade. It is very likely that it would either be overturned by a 6-3 Supreme Court, 6-3 conservative Supreme Court. But when you look at Stephen Breyer, I had Colin circle him, he's 82. Nobody has a crystal ball, but he's 82. So if something were to happen to Stephen Breyer in another 4 years of Trump, then you possibly are looking at a 7-2 Supreme Court in favor of Republicans. Now, we could get into a debate about, and I've seen some other progressive outlets today talking about how ridiculous it even is that we have this system of geriatric, unelected judges essentially deciding the fate of the country, in many cases the world. I agree. I don't really understand why these people have lifetime terms. It doesn't, nobody else has lifetime terms. I think, particularly for something like this, they should be made to retire at a certain age. I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg should have retired under Barack Obama, but it is what it is. There's no point in looking back. So, at the end of the day, I'm not telling anyone how to vote. I don't think that's my role. But people need to realize this is no longer a decision about the lesser of two evils between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. This is not what this is about anymore. Frankly, regardless of whether or not Biden wins, I think there's a very strong chance they're going to ram it through anyway. Because frankly, I think Mitch McConnell, in terms of his legacy, cares a lot more about cementing 50 to 75 years of conservative rule on the Supreme Court than possibly losing the Senate for 4 to 8 years. If you look at both options, he cares a lot more about cementing the legacy of the Supreme Court. I mean, if you want to get into the politics a little bit, this is where it stands. Senators returned to Washington on Monday with the Supreme Court nomination fight looming. Back in the Senate for the first time since Ginsburg's death, Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, reiterated his plan to fill her vacant seat. The Senate has more than sufficient time to process a nomination. Republicans could try to rush to confirm a replacement for Ginsburg before Election Day, but doing so could put some of their members up for re-election in greater political peril and keep them off the campaign trail in the crucial closing weeks of the campaign. There are risks in waiting, too, particularly if voters overwhelmingly reject Trump and Republican senators. 2 Republican senators, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine, have publicly objected to the idea of a vote before Election Day, meaning McConnell could only afford to lose one more member of his party, given his slim 53 to 47 majority. That focused attention on Senators Mitt Romney, Cory Gardner, and Charles Grassley. So let me tell you what I think here. Number one, I don't think Trump or McConnell is going to try and ram it through before Election Day. Obviously, Trump is already huffing and puffing that that's what he wants, but you also want to give an incentive and more motivation for Republican, if you're Trump and McConnell, for Republican voters to come out. If you try and ram it through before Election Day, then I guess on one breath, that would motivate Republicans to come out because you got another Supreme Court justice through. But on the other end, if it's hanging in the balance as Trump needs to be reelected for you to do this, it will gin up Republican support. So I don't think they're going to ram it through before Election Day. However, whether Biden wins the presidency or not, no one, and I think Joe Biden is living in a fantasy world. With all due respect to Chuck Schumer and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you could do press conferences together, which I found a little odd, but I digress. You can, if you're protesters in DC, we saw protesters waking up Lindsey Graham at 5 a.m. this morning. You could do all of those things. Frankly, you could drop on Lindsey Graham's door and all of their doors for the next X amount of days till Inauguration Day. It ain't gonna matter. These people have no souls. They have no They have no shame. They don't care if they're being hypocrites. They don't care if they're being inconsistent. And most of all, they don't particularly care about whether this will further damage the credibility of our democracy, even though we don't have a democracy because we live in the United Corporations of America. So then it comes down to, again, in my opinion, no matter how you vote, even if Trump loses, they're going to try and ram this through in the lame duck. I'm not a Senate procedure expert, but from what I've read, yeah, there's things that Schumer could do and the Democrats could do to delay this, but they can't delay it for months. The inauguration's January 21st. Okay? So, to me, I think this is a true test of whether the Democrats are going to remain feckless for the rest of eternity, or they're going to start rolling up their sleeves and going to a knife fight holding a bazooka gun instead of a spoon. Because typically, Democrats hold hold a spoon as the Republicans bring the bazooka gun. So what am I suggesting? Because to me, again, I don't like Joe Biden. I certainly don't like Donald Trump. But to me, this is no longer about lesser of two evils. This is about the next 50 to 70 years of the Supreme Court. And let me be clear, whatever people's strategy on voting, I know some think, no, don't vote for Biden because if you keep giving the Democrats your vote, then they're never going to actually come to your side if they know they could just get your vote, even though they treat you like crap and don't give you anything you want. It's the, abused, battered wives syndrome. We just keep coming back and back for more, they call it. But again, to me, this is no longer about that, because there is the things that we as progressives want going to be very hard to get through, even if they come through legislatively. When you have a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court, a lot of that could be struck down. Case in point, the Voting Rights Act was a very non-controversial thing for a very long time. I mean, obviously not when it passed, but decades later, it passed with overwhelming majorities in the House, the Senate. Legislatively, both sides did the right thing and just reinstated it. Well, the Supreme Court struck it down. So who's to say if by sheer, if one day God looks down, if there is a God, and we get Medicare for all in this country, who's to say a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court conservative Supreme Court majority, or if Stephen Breyer croaks, and again, he's 82, he's the oldest one of all of them. Who's to say that a Supreme Court majority of 6-3 or 7-2 can't find a technicality that says Medicare for all is unconstitutional? Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.